Welcome to the Glow Getters podcast. My name is Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, and I'm your host. I teach and inspire leaders to step into their productive selves and find their true potential. I'm a passionate creative and scientist with over 8 years of healthcare leadership experience. At age 25, I stepped into my first management role and didn't find the leadership advice I was looking for. So here I'm giving you the tools to end burnout and enjoy a vibrant career and life. Glad you're here to learn and grow with me. Now, on with the show. Hey y'all, welcome to the Glow Getters podcast, or maybe you're watching this on my YouTube channel. Very happy you're here. Today I'm hoping to keep this episode relatively short and sweet. I just want to share something that's on my mind and when it comes to leadership. So I'm going to be sharing one of my biggest pet peeves that people do as leaders, and I'm going to give you some tangible solutions for how to fix that. First, I want to mention, though, if you're not following the Glow Getters podcast, it's actually just at Glow Getters podcast on Instagram. You definitely want to. I posted some teaser pictures leading up to this week's episode because, drumroll please, I'm going to actually start posting on that account. So for a while, I would just post here and there whenever I had an episode, but not very consistently. I experimented with posting on my personal Instagram feed at Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt, and that seemed to work really well, but I really want to use this podcast at Glow Getters podcast Instagram account to share really amazing quotes from the episodes, to highlight, some of the major concepts, to share a little bit deeper on the freebies that I give during these episodes. A lot of episodes I have freebies that are in my free resource library on my website. And sneak peek, I want to start having guests on the podcast. So it's been me so far, and mostly because honestly, it's just been easier to coordinate my life and just be like, okay, when do I want to sit down and do this? But I've been practicing being more consistent. You guys have probably noticed episodes come out every Tuesday, and then I have a newsletter that drops every Thursday, sort of recapping it. So I'm very excited. So I guess you have 2 action items. One is, if you're not already, follow at Glow Getters podcast on Instagram. And number 2, send me a DM there and let me know, who do you want to hear on the podcast? What kind of people do you want to hear from as guests? I want these to be leaders, people that maybe work through some struggles and now they're doing really well. People that can inspire you and motivate you and get you excited. And I'm curious, who would you want to hear from? So message me that, send me a DM at Glow Getters podcast on Instagram. Okay, now let's get started. So what is one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to leadership, things leaders do? Are you ready for it? Attending meetings or calling into meetings when you are out of office, or you're on vacation, or you have a day off and you're on PTO. I know there's a lot of pet peeves I have, responding to emails in the evening and all of that. But this is one of my biggest pet peeves, and it came up recently. As leaders in my organization, we were going through lots of changes, big projects, deadlines looming coming up in July for us. And so we're all trying to figure out, okay, when can we take a day off? When can we find a moment to breathe and recover, right? And so I'm finding a lot of my leaders have been calling in from home to these meetings when they're not even working, they're not even on the clock. And, it varies by job. Some of them are salaried, right? So in their minds, they're it doesn't matter. I don't really punch in, right? And others, it's well, I'm hourly, but I'm not getting paid to do this extra call, but I'm at home and I'm calling in anyways. So there's a couple different camps, but regardless, if you, and I'm sorry if you guys can hear this, but of course they're doing construction next door. I can hear it, so hopefully you can't. But regardless, if you are off, you're supposed to be enjoying your day and not having to mentally be okay, at 10 o'clock, I have to hop on a call really quick, because then it's really not your day. Then work really is it's defining what you do, and it's really interfering with everything else in your entire day. It's dictating what you do, what you think, what you feel throughout the day. You can't really disconnect if you're calling in. And that's what you need on your time off, right? So I'm going to give you some tips for not doing this. So first of all, if you are doing this, I just want to say, been there, done that. I've probably done that semi-recently. It's hard. It is hard to not do this, especially if you're super dedicated, committed, you're used to sort of just like taking accountability for things. But I will show you a way to enjoy your time off, have some peace, and make sure you don't miss anything from those meetings. So the number one tip I have is you've got to be proactive in your systems. And so one thing that can help you is using a leader standard work template. So I actually did a nice video on this with like pictures, and I have a downloadable for it. If you haven't checked it out, you should. If you have looked at it, but you haven't implemented it, I really highly encourage you to check it out. So I will link the video in the show notes and in the description of this video. I'll put a little card if you're watching on YouTube to that video. Check it out. It will like save your life. Essentially what it helps you do is you can look ahead every week or whatever cadence you like to look ahead and know like, okay, on Monday, I'm out of office, but I have this specific meeting. And right away, there's a couple different things you can do. First of all, you can communicate that you won't be there because you have time off, and you will ask for some notes or an update. Now, this is like the first tip that I feel like has the most boundaries around it. It's basically saying like, I'm okay with the meeting proceeding, but I just want to let you know I've set a boundary and I have the day off and I won't be present at the meeting. And I'm hoping for some updates afterwards. There's nothing wrong with this response. I think it's perfectly fine to say that, especially if it's like a last minute meeting, like it just came on your calendar the week before, or maybe there's not enough time to reschedule, or you're not able to find someone to cover for you. That's totally an appropriate response. And if people who created the meeting are wanting and needing you there, they'll say, oh, okay, you're off. Okay, let's move it. What day would work better for you? And then you have an opportunity to say, oh, okay, well, I'm here on Thursday. These were the times that would work best for me. Boom, problem solved. I think often enough, we just assume that we need to like make it work for other people, when in reality, like we should be controlling our calendar, not the other way around. So just let people know, like, I will be off that day, I won't be able to attend. And more than likely, they'll say, well, let's reschedule if it's imperative that you're there for the meeting. The second tip that you can do is ask to move the meeting. You can just say, hey, like outwardly, I am unavailable that day. You don't even need to tell them you're out of office because it doesn't matter. Maybe you already had a meeting scheduled or you're double booked. Maybe you're out of office. It really doesn't matter. Just say, hey, I am unavailable at this time and day. I'm wondering if we can move the meeting. And then maybe suggest a few times, or maybe if you have a way to tell when other people are free, look ahead and suggest something that might work for other people. I think a lot of times we just don't ask. Like I said, we just kind of assume that we've got to like make it work. And in reality, most people are flexible and they'd be okay if you said, hey, can we move it? Oh, sure, let's look ahead. The third thing you can do is ask for help. So oftentimes we're not working by ourselves. Even if you're an entrepreneur and you work by yourself, there are so many people in our lives that can help us. So I'm thinking of like your boss, a coworker, or someone who's like equal to you in your peer group. Or maybe even somebody who's like a newbie or a direct report, someone who works for you, who could really use that growth and experience. Tell them, hey, I'm going to be out of office. I have this meeting. I'm wondering, would you be willing to step in for me and, listen, take notes, and then give me an update? And oftentimes, those people are going to be like, okay, sure. Or they're going to tell you what they need to feel comfortable attending for you. So maybe it's a meeting where you might be imperative, but it's unable to be scheduled. You could sit down with them, give them 5 minutes of your attention, and go over sort of the high points. And you know what? They're going to go into that meeting not knowing every single dang thing. But guess what? That is like the best leadership training that you can get, is to be able to navigate situations that are ambiguous, that maybe you don't know the answers to, that you have to take back, learn, and then give back to people once you figure out the answer or retrieve the information. And that is completely fine. And so you can say, hey, this week, so-and-so is going to step in for me and attend the meeting. They might not have all the answers to your questions, but they have enough detail to be able to attend and give a little bit of information and to take back information and bring it to me. So please do let them know and engage with this person, and then they'll follow up with me when I return. Easy. And then they know who to expect. For the calendar invite, don't worry about it being perfect. Let it go. It's going to be awesome. Same thing goes for your boss. Just give them a couple lines. I know I always want to hear from my people like, hey, boss, like I can't make it today. I have a day off. Oh my gosh, protect that day off. Absolutely take the day. I can carve out time to hop on for you. Sometimes I can't, right? And I'll just let you know, no, I'm not available. But if you give me enough notice, I can. And if you're new at this and it's like the Friday before a meeting and the meeting's Monday, still ask for help. Don't worry about it. We're all imperfect humans. It's totally fine if you have a last minute request. Just try to be better in the future, right? Just recognize, oh, this is what happens when I'm not as proactive. I need to look ahead at my calendar, maybe start using leader standard work, see what's going on the days I have off, and then just setting boundaries and saying, no, I can't make it. Or, yeah, I would love to make it. I want to be there, but I'm unavailable. Can we move the meeting? Or just ask for help from a boss, a coworker, a peer, a direct report to offer growth and development and just have someone stand in for you. All right. With that, I told you, short and sweet. I really want to give you something tangible, get this off my chest, and then spur some conversations in the community about do you guys do this? Do you attend meetings on the days off? And how could you better do it in the future? Which option feels most comfortable to you? And again, please follow at Glow Getters Podcast on Instagram and send me a DM with who or what kind of guests you want to hear on the podcast/YouTube channel. Can't wait to hear from you guys. I'm so excited. Big things are happening. Ominous laugh. All right. Stay healthy, stay safe, and be a light. Talk to you soon. Bye. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Glow Getters podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give me a good rating and review. I would so much appreciate all the good feedback you have for me. If you like this content and you want to get some more of it, maybe even see me and watch some videos, you can check out my YouTube channel. Just search Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt and you should be able to find my channel, which I call the Leadership Collaborative, which has tons of great information on leadership and tells you a little bit more about my Leadership Collaborative community that is always enrolling at the end of each month. All right, everyone, thanks so much again. I hope you stay well and safe. Be a light. Talk soon. Bye.